How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here, and today's video is about this Roland TD-30 electronic drum kit. This TD-30KSE is a Sweetwater exclusive, and what makes this kit so special is that you get a couple of upgraded parts. The first one is the snare drum pad. You get the PD-128. Now, the PD-128 normally comes on the big Mac Daddy TD-30KV. It's got upgraded sensors, and it's just a beautiful, great playing snare drum pad. And what you do is the PD-125 that was the snare drum pad now becomes your fourth tom, so you get a 6-piece drum kit out of it, which is very cool. The next upgraded part is the hi-hat. This is the VH13. Again, it's the same hi-hat that comes with the TD-30KV. It's got two cymbals rather than the VH11, which has the static bass and then just the one single cymbal on top. It feels really good, and it feels more like a normal hi-hat cymbal. Before we move on in this video, I want to show you one really important thing. It's very quick and easy to do. You need to tell the TD-30 brain that you have the upgraded VH13 hi-hat. Let me show you how to do that right now. When you first get the TD-30 out of the box and turn it on, the machine thinks you have the VH11 hi-hat. And in order to tell it that you have the VH13, you give it a factory reset, which is very simple to do. Hit the setup button. Under F4, or above F4, excuse me, it says F reset. Hit the button. Now hit F5, hit F reset, and then execute. After it does the reset, this window will show up, and you'll see in the highlighted area it says VH11. Just turn the little wheel over here to the left 2 times. It says VH13. You hit the button adjust above F5. Now it's telling you, you can see the hi-hat cymbal over here, it's telling you to loosen the clutch. So you loosen the clutch, which drops the cymbals together. Hit execute. It does its thing. It's complete. Now, the machine knows you have the upgraded hi-hat, and it'll play like a normal hi-hat cymbal and pedal. Roland and their V-drums have been industry leaders for well over a decade now, and a big part of that is due to these pads, the mesh pads. They are just wonderful. They feel really good, and you can tune them. And when you tune these mesh pads, you know, you're not going to get a sound because they're just pads, but you can really change the feel. A little more rebound, tighten them up. A little more gushy, a little more thuddy, and the feel, tune them back down. It's a really great, unique feature, and the sensors and the pickups on these pads work every time. The cymbal pads that come on these V-drums feel really good as well. Now, when you play electronic drums, one thing I've heard a lot of drummers sort of complain about is that after you play them for a while, they kind of get fatiguing in your wrists and in your forearms. I have found, and I've played these V-drums for a long time, I really don't get that fatigue at all. These cymbal pads got a nice rubber feel to them. You get a great rebound on the stick, and the fatigue factor is really not there. All right, let me quickly go through the pads that you get with this drum kit. The kick drum is the KD-120 12-inch kick drum pad. Easily fits a double pedal, and it feels good. The PD-128 is the upgraded snare drum pad. And now the fourth tom over here is the PD-125. Both 12-inch pads. You get 3 PDX-100s for your other 3 toms. The upgraded VH13 for the hi-hats. For the cymbal pads, you get one CY12 for one of your crashes. The other one is a CY13, which is sort of a crash ride. And then the big one is the CY15R really nice 3-zone ride cymbal pad. You get bell, middle, and the bow of it all, so you can do anything with this cymbal pad. Now let's get into why this drum set is so special, and that is because of the brain over here to my left. The TD-30 sound module really is the Mac Daddy of all drum modules. Roland's supernatural sound engine and the behavior modeling really make it so these pads feel as close to acoustic drums as you really can possibly get. The brain itself has over 1,100 drum sounds, anything you can think of, from acoustic to electronic and then some. Over 250 backing instruments, very easy to edit. There is EQ and compression for every instrument. It has a dedicated ambience fader, so you can turn up and down reverb and kind of, room sound. All kinds of inputs and outputs. Dedicated direct outs for every trigger, which is fantastic. Even goes so far as having a master section where you can put on compression and EQ on the whole drum kit. This really is a very deep machine. So today we're just going to get into some of the highlights because we could be here all day long going through everything that this machine can do. Now let me show you how easy it is to edit the sounds. The drum kit I have up here is called Nashville. It really is one of my favorite acoustic drum sets in the TD-30. This is how it sounds. Pretty nice acoustic sounds, very usable. But say you want to have a deeper sounding hi-hat sound. Very simple to do. Hit the trigger. There you go. Hit the instrument button. Whatever pad you hit, the brain sees it. Changes the snare, tom, and so on. But we're going to change the hi-hat right now. Right above F2, you hit the edit button. And here I'm going to change the size of the hi-hat. So right now it's at 14. 17-inch sounds good. Let's see how it sounds with the rest of the kit. Very nice, I like that. Hit exit, you're back at the top again. Now let's edit the snare drum. You hit the instrument button, goes to the page. There's all kinds of things you can do when you edit the snare drum. Hit the edit button. So right now it's showing you the size, which is a 6-inch drum. You can make it deeper. You can hear the tone going down a little bit. Make it smaller. Changes the pitch. Let's put it back to 6. Here at head, you can change the head tuning. So easy to do. This is a really cool feature, muffle. When you play acoustic drums, right, there's all kinds of things we use to dampen the drums like moon gel and tape and towels, all kinds of things. Well, this TD-30 drum module mimics that as well. Right now it's on tape 1. Tape 2 gives you more dampening. Donuts, which is like a whole ring. You can really hear it getting tighter the more dampening you put on it. And the last button is mic. Here you tell it the distance of the microphone that would be on a normal acoustic drum. You tell it the distance you want it to be at. It sort of changes the EQ a little bit in the tone of the drum. Again, these are all really easy things to do, and all you do is just mess with it. I really encourage you to hit all the buttons on the machine and dive in and really tweak the sounds to your heart's content, because it's a lot of fun to do and you can get really interesting sounds by doing so. One of the coolest features of the TD-30 drum module is the fact that you can turn up and down the sounds of the drums by turning up and down the faders right here to your left. It's really easy to do. Just grab them and go. You also have this dedicated ambience fader, which is this. Very cool. Turn up and down the reverb, the sound of the room. And again, it's very easy to edit that ambience by just hitting the ambience button and going into that edit window. Hit the button, There you have your overhead room and reverb ambience, and just turn them up and down by turning the jog wheel. Simple as that. Another really fun feature about the TD-30 are the multi-effects. Let me show you that right now. It really is a lot of fun, and it's very easy to edit again. If you want to edit an effect, just go into the effects section. Right above F1 is the on and off switch. Turn it on. And you have all kinds of parameters in there to mess with the effects. Right now I have a delay on. Use the arrow buttons to move around. You could sync the delay to the tempo. Just turn that on. There you go. Now it's synced to the tempo of the machine. I think this is worth mentioning. If you hit the F3 button where it says Mix Effects Send, it'll show you basically faders of all the different instruments. Whenever you hit a particular pad, it'll show you what pad you're on. So right now I'm on the kick, snare. And in order to turn up the send, up or down, you just turn the jog wheel. So what that does is you can have effects only on certain drums and not on other ones. So what I'll do here is I'll turn the delay off on the kick drum. Now just leave it on the snare. I really encourage you to dive into all of the parameters of the TD-30 because it'll take your creativity to a much higher level. As you can probably tell, I'm playing along to some music. The TD-30 comes with a whole slew of backing tracks and loops and all kinds of things to play along to. Very easy to do. Right up here on the left side it says Song Player. Hit the button that says USB/pattern. And there you go. Right above F1 it says that same thing, USB and pattern. And you can just turn the jog wheel and go through all of the different loops and patterns that it has. Right now I'm on a drum and bass one. It's got all kinds of stuff in here. It really is cool for practice. You can play along with the click going on at the same time. If you want to have a click track, just hit the tempo button above F5. Here you go, hit it on and it goes. And that'll also be synced with the music. Turn it off. I have a samba pattern going right now. Let me just play that. All right. Now, say I want to have the click track in there so I can kind of keep really good time. Hit the tempo button, turn it on. To turn the click up and down, just turn the jog wheel. You can also use the plus and minus buttons. Do the same thing. There's also a tap button above F3 so you can tap in the tempo if you like. Again, so many features on this machine. One thing I definitely encourage anybody who gets into a machine like this is to really utilize all of the different sounds that come with playing electronic drums. Of course, all the acoustic sounds are really cool and can manipulate acoustic drums very well, especially this TD-30 kit. But the fact that these play all kinds of different electronic things, from your basic TR-808 sounds like I just did there, to all kinds of crazy things, really is what makes electronic sounds special, in my opinion. So I definitely encourage you to dive in there and get creative as you possibly can, and then use those sounds in your live musical applications with your band, wherever you play these electronic drums. Let me quickly go through the back panel of the TD-30 drum brain with you. There's all of the trigger inputs for all of the pads here, plus you'll see a few of the trigger inputs that say AX. Those are for auxiliary pads. You can add even more pads to the TD-30 kit if you like. You have your regular master left and right out, of course. A SPDIF digital output. One of the sweetest features of the TD-30 drum brain is the fact that you have multiple outputs. Every drum has its own output. So you can use this in a recording studio, and just like you would an acoustic drum set, you could have each drum individually recorded and then, manipulate that inside your DAW when you're making your songs. Very cool. Right next to the multi-output jacks are a mix-in and a foot switch jack, so you can use the foot switch to change your kits if you like. Nice feature. Regular MIDI, and then you also have USB MIDI. Makes it so you can play this drum kit directly into your DAW via MIDI and record the MIDI parts along with the sounds of the drums. So great features there as well. And also a USB key slot, so you could put in MP3s or waves, songs onto your USB key and play along. It's really easy to do. In order to use the patterns or songs that you have on your USB key, all you do is hit the USB pattern button right below Song Player. There you go. And just above F1 it says USB and pattern. Hit. Right now it's on pattern, so it'll play all the internal loops and patterns that are in the TD-30. Hit it again, USB. Now anything you have on the USB key will play. Really quickly before I give you this example, let me show you right here. On the left side, bottom left of the machine here, it says fader. When you press that, the red light goes on. Right now when it's at the top, all of the faders will adjust the volume of the pads. Hit it again, it goes back down to the bottom. So now you can adjust your auxiliary pads if you have them, your click level, your pattern level, and your USB song level. So it's really easy to adjust the level and the mix in your ears if you need to. All right, everybody, this is the TD-30KSE electronic 6-piece drum kit. And I just got into some of the highlights of these drums. Again, there are so many things to do with the TD-30 brain and these pads. It's really deep, and I encourage you to get into it as deep as you possibly can. It's so much fun, and you can get really creative. You can use these drums in any musical situation, from rock to pop to funk. Fantastic in a house of worship setting. And although it doesn't take the place of acoustic drums, it comes darn close, and they're a lot of fun to play. If you want any more information about this TD-30 drum kit, any other Roland product, just talk to your Sweetwater sales engineer, and thanks a lot for watching.